Hey gang, and welcome back. These videos are brought to you by Card Conduit, the best place to sell your unused collection fast and easily. 401 Games, Canada's top shop for all your hobby and TCG needs. Dragon Shield, the strongest sleeves for your strongest decks. Moxfield, the easiest way to store and share your deck lists. And Foil Armor, flatten your foils fast. Max draws and plays a mountain, tapping it for 1 red to cast the best turn 1 modern play with a Ragavan. Metcha just plays a forest. Arja plays a swamp, and then casts Grim Bauble, dealing with the Ragavan and passing. Sammy plays an Evolving Wilds, cracking it and saying he's gonna go find a plains. Max is upset from losing his monkey, playing out an Exotic Orchard and casting Noble Heritage. Metcha's got a forest and cast Nature's Lore, going to find a 3rd forest and passing. Arja plays Tiny Bones, and then taps his other swamp for Dark Ritual, powering out Braids on turn 2. He then moves to his end step, and Arja sacrifices the Grim Bauble to Braids, and each opponent chooses not to sacrifice an artifact, or they can't, and they each take 2, and Arja draws 3. Sammy's land for turn is an Undergrowth Stadium, and he casts an Arcane Signet. Max draws, plays a swamp, and casts Squall, choosing 1 as his number. He then puts 2 counters onto Squall with the Noble Heritage, while each opponent declines to take the deal. After that, Max passes. Metcha plays a forest, and he casts Nissa, Voice of Zendikar. Once the walker's out, he upticks her to make a plant token, and passes. Arja's got a swamp, and casts the card he's known for with an Accursed Marauder, and this has the table sacrificing a creature, and most importantly, Max loses Squall. Going to combat, Arja sends Tiny Bones at Max, and Braids goes at Nissa. Metcha chumps while Max takes 1 though, and Arja then casts Ragavan off Tiny Bones. He then moves to his end step, and sacrifices Tiny Bones to the Braids trigger, and once again his opponents can't or won't take the deal, taking 2 while Arja draws 3 cards. Sammy's land for turn is a Grand Colosseum, and he pays 3 mana for a Chromatic Lantern, and passes. Max plays a Castle Ardenvale, and then casts Sunforger and ships it. Matt's land for turn is a forest, big surprise, and he casts a Springleaf Parade for 3. This has him making 3 Changeling tokens, and he then upticks Nissa, making a plant token. Arja's got a swamp, and swings Ragavan at Sammy, and Braids goes at Max. They don't block, taking the hit, and Arja steals a Cultivate off of Sammy with Ragavan, but declines to cast it. Instead, he casts a Painful Quandary, and then sacrifices a swamp to Braids during the end step. Once more his opponents all refuse, taking 2 while Arja draws 3. Sammy draws and casts a Dimension X Pizzasaur in his main phase, which yes is a legal Magic card. He discards a card to Painful Quandary while I've taken some mental damage off of reading that creature's name. He then destroys the Ragavan with the Pizzasaur and passes. Max draws and casts Alexios, discarding a card, and then plays a Rakdos Carnarium, bouncing a land back to hand. Metcha's upkeep has him gaining control of Alexios and adding a counter to him. He then draws for turn and plays a forest. He casts the Guardian Project, and follows up with Forgotten Ancient, discarding both times. And then draws a card as the Ancient comes in. Metcha then continues by upticking Nissa to make a plant token, and moving to combat, he swings Alexios at Arja. Arja takes the hit, and Matt passes. Arja's upkeep has him gaining Alexios, and Alexios gains a counter, and Arja then draws and plays a swamp. He casts Bone Shards, discarding a card to destroy Nissa. Arja then follows that up by casting Lazotep Reaver, and he then goes to combat, swinging Alexios at Sammy. Sammy takes the hit for 6, and Arja then moves to his second main phase. He casts Phyrexian Reclamation, and then resolves his Braids trigger, which none of his opponents agree to, each taking 2 while Archer draws another 3. Sammy gets Alexios this time around, draws, and plays a Root Brown Crag. He then casts Michelangelo and discards a card. Going to combat, he swings Alexios at Arja, who takes the hit for 7. After combat, Sammy puts a counter onto Alexios, and he then casts Super Combo, taking out the Forgotten Ancient. With nothing else, Sammy passes. Max gets his Alexios back, adds a counter to him, and draws. He plays an Arid Mesa, and then equips the Sun Forger onto Alexios, and goes to combat. He swings Alexios at Arja. Arja blocks with the Lazotep Reaver, soaking up 2 damage, but still takes the rest. Max then passes turn. Mathieu gets Alexios this time around, draws, and casts an Oran Reef Ooze. He follows up with Ferrafor, which actually works pretty well with Alexios, making 7 Saproling tokens. He then swings Alexios at Arja to try and drop him to 4, and Max cracks his Arid Mesa to go and see if he's got a Boros Charm in his library to finish him off, and instead puts a Godless Shrine untapped into play, and Arja drops to 4, and Matt then passes. Arja gets Alexios, draws, and plays a Swamp. He casts a Virus Beetle, and then swings Alexios at Mathieu. He takes the 15, and Arja then casts Omen of the Dead, and returns the Accursed Marauder. He doesn't cast it though, and instead moves to his end step. He sacrifices the Omen of the Dead, and no one sacrifices an enchantment, so they each take 2, while Arja draws 3. Sammy gets Alexios, draws, and this time casts Leonardo in his main phase. He swings Alexios at Matt, and Michelangelo and the Pizza Sword go up Max. Matt chumps with Ferrafor to soak up some damage, and Max takes the full hit. Sammy then puts a counter onto the Pizza Sword, and he makes a food token with Michelangelo. Because he makes a token, Leonardo triggers, putting a +1/+1 counter onto all of his creatures. Sammy then passes turn. Max gets Alexios, draws, and plays Mishra's Factory. He then casts Squall again, and puts 2 counters onto him with the Noble Heritage. And at this point it's late enough in the game that everyone also takes the deal, doing the same. He chooses 2 with Squall this time, and then swings Alexios at Matt. He throws all of his untapped creatures in front of it, but still drops to 1, and Max then passes turn. Matt gets Alexios and goes straight to combat, swinging him at Arja to remove the painful quandary. Arja takes lethal, and Matt's second main phase has him casting a Scoot Swarm. He then plays a forest and gets a copy of the Scoot Swarm. After that, he passes turn. Sammy gets Alexios, draws, and swings Alexios at Mathieu. He can't block enough and also takes lethal, and this has Sammy making a food after combat, and Leonardo triggers, putting a counter onto his team. After combat, Sammy then casts a Steelbane Hydra for 1, and he removes the counter and targets the Sun Forger to be destroyed. Max is ready with his deflecting swat though, and instead moves it to the Pizza Sword. With nothing else, Sammy passes. Max's Noble Heritage triggers, and Sammy takes the deal as well. Max then activates Mishra's Factory, and swings out at Sammy. On attack, Squall deals 7, and even with blocks, Sammy can't stop enough, and Max wins the game. Game review time. So this was a fun one, and I loved how Alexios synergized with 2 of the other decks inadvertently. He got powered up by Sammy's TMNT Precon deck because of Leonardo and Michelangelo, and Ferrafor loved the fact that Alexios had so many counters on him since it made Mathieu so many Saprolings. I also feel like it's an unspoken rule that if you play Braids, you have to sacrifice at least 1 land throughout the course of the game just to really punish your opponents and draw a bunch of cards. And she's just such a great mono-black commander, easily one of my top 3. Other than that, I love Squall. I think he's a fun Mardu commander built around a really interesting ability, and it's the kind of thing that really rewards someone with a specific deck building idea in mind. This video wouldn't be possible without the help from my sponsors, but it definitely wouldn't be possible without the help from you, the viewers. and my patrons. So I just want to say thank you for watching, and to remember, friends are just opponents you haven't eliminated yet.